as the more time I spent with Rob and things, I realized that you can just change a couple things, and then suddenly your level just takes a whole a giant step up. And so I always had this assumption that I was like, oh, I need to take several decades, but it never felt that way from the start. And then I felt that the more I put in, the more I experiment, and the more because you can put this in your daily life, like when you're walking. And I found that I could have differences in my level like on a weekly basis. And so that just got me more excited about it. And then the more I play with it, the more you get better. And it just keeps snowballing. So
what exactly did it feel like for you?
it felt really clear and like clean. Like nothing was overwhelming me or anything. I just all of a sudden my balance is taken and I don't know what happened. But there was no point in where I was like, oh, if I adjust here, I can fight it, or I can like regain my posture or whatever. I was just completely taken. And I was like, what? How did you just do that? Do it again. And then he can do it again perfectly. And I was like, so.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's kind of like a ride you want to go on again and again.
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun. It's not overwhelming and like violent in a way. I mean, it can be if he wants to be. later, I know that yes, it can be very violent if he wants it to be.
Yeah, I think one thing that's interesting too is that there's a lot of people who have felt, Akazawa Sensei, they felt Rob, they felt, a number of other people, and they think it's pretty cool, right? But then, not everyone is willing to go kind of put in the time to really figure out what's actually going on and then how to make it kind of their own thing. So what was it for you where you said, okay, this feels cool, now I really want to do it? What was that moment for you?
I think one, it was different than anything I felt, so that got me really interested. Like Rob, especially like when I first started, and then Akazawa even more so. It always felt like when something was being done to me that there are like frames of like a video that get skipped, and I was always really interested in like what did you do in between? Like how did this happen? And then as the more time I spent with Rob and things, I realized that you can just change a couple things, and then suddenly your level just takes a whole a giant step up. And so I always had this assumption that I was like, oh, I need to take several decades, but it never felt that way from the start. And then I felt that the more I put in, the more I experiment, and the more because you can put this in your daily life, like when you're walking. And I found that I could have differences in my level like on a weekly basis. And so that just got me more excited about it. And then the more I play with it, the more you get better. And it just keeps snowballing. So
yeah, I like that word snowball. That's I think that's kind of a theme that we've had again and again on this channel, is how you can use all those extra opportunities in your daily life to train. Because a lot of people just they do what they do in the dojo and that's it. It doesn't affect their outside life. But you've been training how long now?
I think I met you, Rob, in late 2017, but then I moved to Tokyo in like 2018, so like 4 or 5 years now, if you really count everything. But, yeah.
So Rob, you're probably in a better position. What has changed for you when you feel Mike?
What's changed?
I don't crumple when you hit me now. You used to just go knock knock and I die.
No, like quite literally, like when I first met Mike, like I could get away with the showboating techniques, which is Mike, grab my pinky. Mike, I'm gonna touch you with my pinky and then just off balance you and just like, and then that stopped working in about 6 months, which is a good thing. And then like, what hasn't changed? Like, he's dense as hell now. So it's like, oh, great. So I can like hit you harder. Through the pad.
No, I mean that's actually that's good feedback, because one of the things that people sometimes accuse long-term students are that they might be taking a dive for the teacher to make them look good. But we've had conversations offline before on this, Rob. But I think what's kind of funny for people who are working on ARC's method is that they look worse in a way, like when they're receiving things from their teacher. And it's not that they're like deliberately trying to make them look bad. I think it's just the solidity that they're building up, the organization of the body that they're building up. It just doesn't affect them to the same degree that it did before.
Yep.
You guys
so I was going to say, like, to take a really simple example, for those of you that saw the Shioda video, and I give a quick and dirty version of like Sagete. And in that version, I'm just like, bring the elbows, to the front, balance on that, the nape of the neck, and then bring it down. Like, that doesn't work on Mike at all. Like it's like katunk. It's cool because it's like, oh, so like that foot in the door just doesn't work on Mike anymore. It's just like, and he's not trying to block. It's just that he's got a center line. He's got front control. He even has back control now to some degree. He's like dense. So there's just like katunk. Oh, you just get stopped basically. Whereas like 4 years ago, like it was like crush, crush. So it's cumulative, and it accumulates actually very quickly if you grasp what you need to adjust. It's cumulative adjustment, basically, not cumulative conditioning. Cumulative, I do this exercise over and over and over again, and then expect to suddenly become stronger and then crush the other years. Yeah,
magically get it.
I know, like, I know some people that have been doing this stuff for like 15, 16 years, 17 years, and they get stronger in some ways, but I'm just like, really? But like, that's not the difference. The strength component isn't actually the difference.